Hello, I'm Kurt. Let's get weird with corned beef. Corned beef and corned beef hash, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Kurt's. Thanksgiving was a couple of weeks ago. The holidays are quickly approaching / already upon us. And we're going to do another holiday type special. I'm really digging the theme that we started for Thanksgiving, where we did like a not so traditional holiday tradition by doing an apple cobbler. And we're going to stick to that theme today by talking not about a Christmas turkey or a Christmas ham, which is probably what everyone's cooking and everyone's making videos and talking about. We're going to talk about something a little bit different, which is Christmas breakfast. Christmas, of course, is the holiday that I celebrate among all of the holidays. And what I like to make is a Christmas corned beef hash. So that's what we're going to make today. We're going to make corned beef hash, starting with a corned beef brisket. Now, I'm telling you right now, this recipe is weird. So I need you to just bear with me here. The final product is going to be nothing short of bomb.com, but I need you to bear with me because we're going to do some weird things in order to get that final product. So let's talk about brisket for a minute. Let's talk about the corned beef brisket that we're going to start with. This is a corned beef brisket pre-brined flat cut that I bought from the grocery store. This was about 18 bucks. At the time of making this video, I have not yet embarked on the great crusade that is brining your own corned beef brisket. I just haven't done that yet. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. This was like 18 bucks, and I figured by the time that you buy the brisket, buy all the ingredients for the brine it for like 2 weeks or whatever it takes, that it's just not quite worth it to make it yourself, at least not the small portion that I'm going to be eating. But at some point, just for fun, I do want to do that, and I do want to make my own brine, and I will do that, and I'll show you when I do that. I'll make a video about it. But at this time, all I did is I picked up for 18 bucks a corned beef flat cut brisket at the grocery store, and well, maybe we should talk a little bit about what brisket is. Brisket, beef brisket, is a traditionally very tough piece of meat. Tough pieces of meat like pork butt, brisket, ribs, chuck. Tough pieces of meat need to be cooked and prepared in a really special and careful type of way. That's why we smoke them on a barbecue. That's why we brine them. That's why we cook them in our slow cookers. So what we need to do with this, or what needed to happen with this brisket, is it needed to be brined for about, I think they brine them for about 2 weeks. And what that does is it softens and tenderizes the meat and gives you a product that can then be cooked, which we're also going to slow cook, and get a much more tender product than if you had just thrown this into an oven and roasted it. So some people don't even know this, but that's why we call it corned beef, is because it's brined in a brine that is made with salt and pepper corns. So we do need to cook this in our slow cooker for about 8 hours. So I'm not planning on making my corned beef hash until tomorrow morning. You want to give yourself plenty of time. Start preparing this the day before your holiday breakfast meal. So in my case, I'm going to be preparing this on Christmas Eve so I can have it for my Christmas breakfast. We're going to cook this in our slow cooker, plain and simple. We're going to do some fun stuff afterwards, but for now, we're going to cook this in our slow cooker for 8 hours using something weird. I'm going to be cooking it in orange juice concentrate. I can hear you all shouting at me through the camera right now. But Kurt, I don't like orange juice. I don't want it to taste like orange juice. Dude, I promise you it is not going to taste like orange juice. The final product is going to be awesome, and it's because we're going to cook it in orange juice, which I don't know the science behind it. All I know is that cooking it in orange juice just traps all of the juices and fats and deliciousness in the corned beef brisket as it cooks. Whenever I've been making corned beef a long time, okay? And this is the best way to make it. I've tried simmering it. I've tried cooking it in water and other liquids, and every time it comes out dry because all the juices like run out as you cook it. Orange juice concentrate and a little bit of water that we had to submerge it is going to trap all the juices in it and give us the best possible product. I promise you. Just bear with me and try it. Try it. It is going to be incredible. So take your corned beef brisket and cut it open and just throw everything into the crock pot. Everything goes in here. everything in. And if you want to, you don't have to, but I do like to use the little seasoning packet that it comes with. You're just gonna get your concentrate out. I hate these packages. Just plop it in there. It's really easy. Just plop it in. Yep, just enough. Just enough in there to submerge the corned beef. We're gonna cook it on low for 8 hours. Once we're done cooking it, we're gonna throw it in the broiler and broil the crap out of it and crisp up the edges. We're gonna do all these things to trap all the juices in there. I'll show you as we go, and it's gonna be delicious. It's gonna cut up beautifully, cube up beautifully. We'll cook it up tomorrow, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Christmas morning, when you start cooking up some delicious corned beef hash using my orange juice concentrate in the crock pot recipe, you will not be disappointed. It's awesome. It's the best way to make it. I've been making corned beef for a long time. I'm I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy with lots of corned beef experience, unprofessional corned beef experience. It's been about 4.5 hours, and we're just going to give this a quick turn. Rotate it so that the bottom is now the top is now the bottom, and that way you get a good even cook, you know. By the way, this corned beef brisket is just over 2.5 pounds. $6.99 a pound. It was $18 and change total for this corned beef brisket. So yeah, that puts us as like 2.6 pounds. The way I see it, like a crock pot recipe is kind of a crock pot recipe. Unless you get something like much bigger than that, I think 8 hours is going to do just fine. Okay, it has been 8 hours. Our broiler is broiling, and we're ready to take our corned beef brisket out of the slow cooker. Now, if we've done everything correctly, if we did everything correctly, this should look like the most repulsive thing ever. This should not look appetizing at all. It should look gray and gross and just ghastly. Into the broiler immediately. Put it on a high rack and get it close to the meat. We're gonna broil the crap out of this thing, crisp it up. You just wait. You're gonna put it in the broiler just like that. You're gonna let it sit under the broiler and crisp up those edges. And then once we're ready, then go ahead and give you a turn. We have our corned beef brisket. It is done. It is crisped up, and we're going to put it directly into a bowl. We are going to immediately cover it, and we're going to immediately throw this into the fridge. And it's going to sit in the fridge. You want to throw it in the fridge for at least 2 hours. I'm going to let it sit overnight. It's 10 p.m. We're going to make some beautiful corned beef hash in the morning. I cannot wait. Morning. Let's see what we got. It's a beautiful piece of meat right there. This is our corned beef brisket after sitting in the fridge overnight, chilling, cooling, and kind of like just solidifying into this nice, beautiful block of meat that's going to cut up beautifully for some corned beef hash this morning. I've got a whole potato. I'm probably going to use half an onion. And I'm just going to dice up the potato real small and start that first because that takes longest to cook. Then we're going to throw in some diced up onion. Then we're going to throw in some cubed up corned beef after that. And we will have our hash once it gets nice and warm and melty and great. So let's do it. Here's another look at our beautiful, beautiful brisket. Cutting off the end of that. I just have one thing to say about this. Come on. Come on. Look at how good that looks. Look at that nice cross section. That's just the end of it. I'm just going to see if I can get a nice, like, thin slice of this using my cheese grater. Yeah, there you go. How's that for a nice little deli lunch meat right there? Gotta make sure it tastes good. And it does. So we're gonna add our potato, plain and simple. And get a potato, just get these really, really small pieces of potato so they cook quickly. Just enough oil so they don't stick to the pan. Potatoes on the stove, medium-high heat. I don't like going ham on the onions, so I like a little less onion. I'm gonna do half, maybe a little less than half. I believe that's proper onion cutting technique, right? Now, the best part, our corned beef brisket. Let's get you, oh, this is just right here. Oh, that piece is so good. Let me just show you again. This beautiful corned beef brisket here. Oh my goodness, this is so good. I love corned beef so much. You want to just get, big, thick slices and then just dice them up. All right, so our potatoes are getting started on the burner, on the stove, we cubed up our corned beef. It looks, come on, man, just come on. We made that with a pre-brine corned beef brisket, albeit, but we made that. And then we get some onions. We'll add the onions once we get the potatoes almost cooked all the way through. Add the onions, sweat those for a little bit, and then we'll add our corned beef and just kind of melt it all together, and boom, corned beef hash. That's all she wrote. Back on the burner, the potatoes are getting started. Get a little color on them, getting nice and golden brown. Boom, onions. Salt and pepper. This, what we have just made right here, is our hash. The only thing keeping this, the only thing that sets this hash aside from being corned beef hash is that it has no corned beef. The last step to making our hash, corned beef hash, is to add the corned beef. All of this, everything we've been working for right now has been to preserve the flavor and the juices and the fats of the corned beef in the corned beef, and now it can escape. Now it can flow out, it can melt, it can absorb into our potatoes, our hash, our potatoes and onions. Now is when we want all that flavor to just seep out and saturate in the rest of our cook here, the rest of our hash. This is looking good, dude. Oh yeah, dude. And now is when you want to start taste testing. It does need more seasoning. It does. A little bit of both, salt and pepper. I think this is just about done. There's no like right or wrong here. There's no like really fine-tuned point where this is done. It's just whenever it's like cooked to your liking. The time has come. The time has come. Ooh. Oh. Oh, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Our eggs. We'll gently lay an egg on top of each, because what is breakfast without eggs? Holiday breakfast is where it's at. Not dinner. Not dinner, not appetizers, whatever in the afternoon. Christmas, holiday, breakfast is where it's at. Let's go. Let's go. So I like to get a little bit of egg. I like to get the runny egg all over my corned beef hash. and then just take a bite. This is absurd. I'm like, this is enough to make you question reality, man. This is enough to make you wonder if you're in the Matrix. Most important meal of the day. One of the best holidays of the year. Do it right. Corned beef hash. Corned beef hash for the holidays. The not so traditional tradition that you should adopt. Corned beef hash. Thank you. Please come again.